I appreciate that. So welcome everyone to the August 17th, 2026 Lower Merion School District Regular Business Board Meeting. This is the meeting of the school directors. This meeting is hosted via Zoom webinar and is being live streamed. The meeting is also being video recorded with sound for public broadcast. My name is Curry Sotner. I'm the president of the school board. And tonight, this meeting is also being held via Zoom. The reason we are holding it being via Zoom tonight and only via Zoom and live stream is due to threats to our school district administrative team and our board and disruptions to two recent meetings that necessitated multiple recesses and concluded the last policy meeting virtually. The board believes it is in the best interest and the best interest of the students of the district to hear comments from district residents and taxpayers. We welcome and value public comments from members of our community, and we want to provide ample opportunity for participation. But regrettably, over the past several months, Lower Merion School Board members and our school district superintendent have been subject to threats. Our meetings have been sustained disruption over and over, and we have witnessed harassment during our public meetings, and our school team have had their home and their families also harassed. This is unacceptable. We strive to uphold the expressive rights of members of our communities, free speech rights. However, free speech does not include intimidation of others into silence by shouting down speakers, including those at the district desk. This misconduct violates our community's rules and, more importantly, deters members from participating in our discussions. It cannot continue. What you say is just as important as how you say it. Regardless of your views, we must have a zero tolerance for threats against our superintendent, members of our board, and sustained disruptions during our meetings. Going forward, any such misconduct will be addressed to the extent permitted by the law. We welcome discussions of all views. We encourage members to voice their concerns to our board. These measures are designed to ensure that all voices are heard, not just some. Sadly, tonight is not a regular board meeting, so this is how it's going to work. During this meeting, public comments from district residents and taxpayers will be submitted through Zoom chat feature. The chat is now open for comments on agenda items only and will remain open for 60 minutes or until no additional agenda item comments are submitted. At that time, the chat will close for agenda items only, comments only. The district solicitor will read these comments during the audience recognition period for agenda items. This is agenda item 6. There is no predetermined time limit for the audience recognition period. However, only one comment per resident or taxpayer will be read. A note on community comment section for clarification from past meetings. The purpose of community comments in a school board business meeting is to provide a structured way for citizens, parents, taxpayers to share feedback, express concerns, and offer diverse perspectives directly to elected decision-making makers, the school board, before they vote on policies, on programs, on curriculum, on operations, on budget items. There are general rules and structures to community comments. It's a listening moment for the board, not a debating moment. So school boards use this time to listen rather than to engage. It's not time for immediate back and forth or debate or question and answer. It's just for the board to listen, for people to make comments, and for the board to listen. As I said before, it typically, when spoken, has a 3-minute time limit. We will keep this to 3 minutes as well. Civility protocols also follow. In general, comments must be directed to the board as a whole, can be guided through the chair, Avoiding personal attacks, slander, or disruptions is also expected. After all agenda item comments have been read, the chat will reopen again tonight for comments for non-agenda items for up to 10 minutes. Tonight, the district solicitor will again read these comments during the audience recognition for non-agenda items. Please note, all comments submitted for board meeting tonight must be included, actually every single business board meeting, must be include your full name and place you reside. Your address will not be stated publicly and publicly disclosed. Only the part of the district in which you live will be read aloud. Anonymous comments or comments from non-residents who are not school district taxpayers will not be accepted. If you do not provide your full name and indicate where you reside within a district, your comment will not be shared. We hope that this will be the only time we have a meeting like this. Now I turn it over to the superintendent, Dr. Ranelli, for his update.
Thank you very much. I have a short superintendent's report. We're looking forward to the start of a wonderful 2026-27 school year. Our high school athletes return to our campuses today to begin fall sports practices. We will be welcoming our new staff members starting next Monday, and then our returning staff members August 31st. Class and bus assignments are set to appear in the Power School Parent Portal the evening of August 28th. I urge all parents and guardians to refer to the back-to-school checklist that Ms. Buckman sent out last week to ensure you've signed up for everything you need to stay informed during the school year. Our students don't stop accomplishing great things over the summer. Not only did we have numerous successful summer academic programs in our buildings and online, we also had students representing LMSD across the globe. Rising Harriton seniors Ethan Zhu and Noel Struber Eden, along with 2026 Lower Merion graduate Yagu Zhang, were all selected for the National Youth Orchestra of the USA. They performed at Carnegie Hall and then held concert tour through Germany, the Netherlands, Scotland, and Great Britain. And two of our rowers from our district competed in the World Rowing Championships. Dahlia Levine, who graduated from Lower Merion in 2020, and Addison Levinston, who graduated from Harriton in June, both represented the U.S. in the international competition in Bulgaria. Great things are happening all the time in Lower Merion, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to move. We do not have student representatives tonight. The reports will continue in September of 2026. We look forward to having our students back. Next update is Anna Schreck for the policy update on August 3rd was the last meeting. Anna, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much. So on our last policy meeting, we voted to move forward our new policies for technology and technology security. I want to just give a little bit more context on the process that's gone underway, as tonight the board will be voting on those final policies. So as a district, we heard legitimate concerns and undertook an unusually significant amount of time to really make substantial change. The review has been underway for 8 months and included families, educators, technology staff, community members, research on child development and learning, and comparisons with other districts. In June, the presentation shared that the policy had gone through 4 iterations to date, alongside community conversations and administrative work on that implementation. And what I really want to convey with, if we pass this policy tonight, is that what we actually will see will be much different for when students walk into school this fall. And it's really extraordinary how much will be changed in such a short period of time. These really haven't been a superficial policy revision, and having been on the policy committee for the last 5.5 years, this is the most extensive work that we've done in coordination with the community, and I'm really grateful for that. The policy that we presented and discussed at the last policy meeting with reviewed and with completely updated ARs was the 5th iteration of this policy. Our district's own engagement really showed that our community does not have one perspective on technology, that there are a wide array of perspectives. And I am grateful to all the families, educators, community members, and board members who took time to share their perspective and work on this policy. And the policy is a lot stronger as a result. As we know, public engagement in policy work and in any work of the board, quite frankly, doesn't mean that whoever organizes most effectively, sends the most emails, attends the most meetings, hires professional support, or speaks most frequently gets to determine public policy. It means that a myriad of perspectives are included to build and pass that policy. And so what we saw in the last policy meeting before it was disrupted was us sharing the best work to date on what that can look like when, as a community, we work to in tandem to combine those. So through this policy, the district isn't just changing the words, it's actually changing practice. And to iterate what is included in this final version we're voting for tonight, and hopefully will be passed by a majority of my colleagues, is that K-2 students will no longer be assigned individual device. Technology will be limited to specific purpose that is guided and approved. Grades 3 through 4, devices will stay at school and are used only under teacher supervision for concrete instructional objectives. Grades 5 through 6, devices stay at school by default unless families choose to have them brought home, and they will not be used during downtime, such as lunch and between classes. For grades 7 through 8, time that technology is used in those downtimes will also be limited. The district has strengthened the grade level expectations for technology use through this policy in AR. Teachers are getting real-time classroom tools to monitor and manage student devices. Parents will have greater visibility into their children's district technology use. Families will have tools to further restrict district-issued devices at home. Our web filtering is being strengthened. Families will now have a mechanism for recommending sites for filtering and review. Elementary students will have alternatives to emergency instruction on snow days. So devices will not be sent home for our elementary students if we have snow emergency. And then personal technology, including cell phones, will be off and away bell to bell K-8. As you might remember, we've been discussing this for a long time. That was a practice that wasn't actually a policy. So it's a band to band bell for K-8. In high school students, the restrictions on high school devices has been strengthened for this school year, and a full bell to bell band will be implemented in 27-28. So those are all the changes that are proposed in this final version that we discussed in our last policy meeting and that is going to the board tonight. Those aren't cosmetic changes. They really materially change children's experiences in school. And the new policy just really changes the district's underlying philosophy. So we've been able to state that it explicitly shares teachers and relationships are central to the learning. Technology is a tool, not a substitute for instruction. So you should really be developmentally appropriate, and students that are needing additional support have the access to additional tools, but technology never replaces a teacher. So finally, I just want to share that as an educator who I've spent nearly 25 years in classrooms and school system leadership, it is really difficult to move from concern to policy to operational change across an entire school district. And I really want to thank all of our teachers, administrators, and the school team who will be making these changes possible. It's a ton of work on a very short timeline, and it cannot be underestimated how much it takes. And I apologize that my camera is going in and out. I don't know why that is happening, but I am still here in person presenting. So thank you so much.
The irony is not lost on that.
Problems
Okay.
with technology. Yeah.
Just gonna laugh at that. Okay, next, Abby, I believe Abby Rubin, you're gonna take over for the facilities. Am I correct on you're gonna do the updated facilities and purchasing?
Actually, I'm going to do
Jason.
the update if that's okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Back to Jason.
Perfect. Thank you. So facilities and purchasing meeting was on August 13th of 2026. It was a very productive meeting. We discussed the July and August list of bills. The district contracts that came about were the Securely Pass, School Mint, Frontline, and Leader Services. We also discussed the Lower Merion Aquatics Club updated contract. There was also Power School and School Messenger, Presidio, the phone system upgrade, and a highlight was the BC Auditorium upgrade, which is a really exciting endeavor where the audio and projectors are going to be upgraded. And a huge thanks to the administration for that and moving so quickly on that. That's a huge update and a huge upgrade for the Ballackinwood Auditorium to bring it in line with more of Welsh Valley and also Black Rock. Kronos, the HR tool, was discussed, as well as explorations for staffing consultants, Sintros, and then a list of contracted drivers, which we tend to have regularly, pest control. We discussed the Ballackinwood Middle School roof change orders and the project, which is actually ahead of schedule, which is wonderful and will be completed well in advance, hopefully, of school starting. And that's what we accomplished. And the next meeting is scheduled for September 24th, 2026 at 9 a.m. on Zoom. So we encourage everyone to attend. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Great work in there for the whole entire team. Now I believe we're going to audience recognition. And I know there was, from what I was seeing in the chat, a little bit of a glitch with the chat opening. So we'll give I know we have time for everybody to catch up. But can we, Solicitor Ruse, can we begin to read some of the chat comments?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you loud and clear.
First comment, Yarlev, Marion Station. We appreciate the hard work of the board and district leadership on the new school technology policy. However, we are deeply disappointed that the board has chosen not to work meaningfully with community members and has disregarded the extensive feedback provided over the past several months. We respectfully ask the board not to approve this policy tonight and instead return to the table with community members and parents, including educators in schools, colleges, and universities, tech experts, pediatricians, and other physicians, child psychologists, mental health professionals, policy experts, researchers, and others. The current draft still falls far short of 5 fundamental protections. Number 1, independent oversight. Create a committee of parents, educators, administrators, tech experts, and board members that reviews technology use at least once every 3 months. This field is changing extraordinarily quickly, and these decisions should not rest with a superintendent whose stated vision has strongly favored technology use. Bell-to-bell personal device. Number 2, bell-to-bell personal device ban. Not only phones and not only K-8, all grades, all classes, all personal devices, including phones, smartwatches, tablets, and similar devices. 3, zero tolerance for unsafe or inappropriate content. If even one child can access social media, gaming, inappropriate content, messaging, or other harmful material through a school-issued device, that access should be immediately shut down and not restored until the district can demonstrate that effective safeguards are in place. There should be zero tolerance for these exposures. 4, teacher-led core instruction. Math, reading, writing, science, social studies, and history should be primarily teacher-led, paper-based, and face-to-face, not delivered through ed tech. Required parental consent. The previous policy allowing families to opt out of educational technology was eliminated in June. It is time to revise this approach. Based on consensus, updated research, and what we now know about children and technology, parents should actively sign consent and opt in before a child receives a one-to-one device or is enrolled in digital learning programs and apps. Please do not finalize a policy that still leaves these fundamental concerns unresolved. Ruth Jenkin Winwood. It is unfair to arbitrarily make a 25-minute comment time when the community is so involved. Dr. Ranelli could have given his answer after comments were finished instead of using the time community members could have used. Teresa Doggett, Marion Station. We appreciate the process the district undertook since March regarding tech usage in the district and support the new policy that will be voted on tonight. Thank you for listening to parent concerns and making meaningful changes to the district's approach to technology. Our students will be better off because of it. Thank you. Margaret Thornton, Wynwood. I encourage you again to listen to the community and current education research and table the vote on new technology policy and related administrative regulations. I speak both as a parent and a professor of educational leadership and policy. These policies are not evidence-based and do not serve students or teachers. They seem to primarily serve ed tech companies. As a former high school English teacher, I also think it is exceptionally unfair to teachers to be voting on policies less than a month before school begins. Jonathan Nadeau, Marion, PA. I hear a lot of quote limited, end quote, quote instructed, end quote, etc. But these are not time specific, and with ambiguity, there can be variance from what is expected. Is the school district planning on having specific time limits by each grade band, so it is clear how much technology is being used? Kelly Senecola, Villanova. Thank you. The board administration has been transparent throughout the revisions to the tech policy. Each meeting has provided clear rationales for the decision making. Thank you for all of your hard work. John Bellis, Wynwood. I think it's important you spell out the consequences for violating the bell-to-bell ban, similar to what we have seen in nearby districts like Downingtown. Dean Rosenkrantz, Ardmore, and former math teacher at Lower Merion High School. I became involved to have a dialogue with the board and district staff to find ways to reduce student use of screens in school. In the spring of this year, we had that dialogue. In the summer, the dialogue soured. I was not at the June 15th meeting, but I understand it wasn't pretty. When the board ended the public comment period August 3rd, I feel that the few remaining people who wanted to speak should have been allowed to do so. It would have taken them more than 15 minutes and would have shown how strongly the board believes in dialogue with concerned residents. I urge the board to reconsider opening the wellness committee to consider digital wellness as well as nutrition. I have talked with members of the board, including Dr. Saltner. I know you want to engage with the public. Please do not give up on dialogue. Carrie Palmisano, Marion Station. I am requesting that the board reconsider opting to not implement an official bell-to-bell personal device ban for the 2026-27 school year for K-12. Other schools, districts, and countries who have adopted an official policy have seen undeniable benefits. Why are we selling our kids short? They can survive a 6-hour and change day without personal devices. It's not rocket science. Make a rule, create consequences for when the rule is broken, follow through on the consequences when needed. This is literally parenting 101. Why waste another year with loosely followed recommendations? Yerre Cachette Gladwin, parent of 2 incredible children who have wonderful, caring teachers at Gladwin Elementary School. Good evening. I want to address the technology policy by comparing it with what Lower Merion School District itself told parents on August 4th. Those communications consistently said technology should be purposeful, developmentally appropriate, teacher-directed, and teacher-supervised. They said many lessons would not require technology, that devices should not be used at certain times without authorization, and that technology should complement, not replace, instruction, discussion, collaboration, and hands-on learning. I don't think those statements go far enough, but they are stronger than the policy before you tonight. And as the policy has evolved, some of this language has actually been weakened or removed. Developmentally appropriate is one example. That is difficult to reconcile with the district's own statement that this was already an existing practice. Sarah Moyne, Wynwood. Our family has made a deliberate and well-considered decision to limit and closely monitor our child's screen exposure. This is not a casual preference. It is a core aspect of our parenting, grounded in concerns about attention, learning quality, and overall well-being. A mandatory one-to-one device policy directly conflicts with that responsibility. As daily articles drop in national publications that are backed by research about the dangers of ed tech, we expect the district to offer reasonable, non-digital alternatives for assignments and classroom work so that our children are not required to use a personal device for daily instruction. This request is not about rejecting technology. It is about preserving a parent's role in determining when and how it is used. At the moment, it is too much and not done transparently. Schools should partner with families, not override clearly established parenting decisions. Please pause this policy until meaningful changes can be made. Rebecca Foscolo, Penguin. Please work with us to create a better environment for our kids to grow up in. This is important. It won't be easy, but we're here to help. We just want what's best for our kids. Technology is harming our child's mental and developmental health. Please look at the warning signs. Please don't make our kids a part of a failed experiment and sacrifice their mental health. Thank you. Excuse me. Tanya Schreiber. As written communications sent to the board, are these written chats preserved? There are occasionally written comments where someone fails to add their name and location in the district, so the comments aren't read. So these chat histories are the only complete record. Please confirm they are saved. I'm sorry, it was Tanya Schreiber, Penguin. Love it, Keshet. Gladwin. The elementary language illustrates the problem. Saying students are not assigned individual devices means little if devices are available in carts in every classroom. What matters is how technology is actually used. The August 4th communication provided clearer limits. Technology would be used for limited durations. When it enhances learning, many lessons would involve no student technology, and devices would remain unavailable unless students were directed to use them. Those are meaningful commitments. They should be in the policy itself, not left to changing administrative judgment. I urge the board to continue working on this policy and incorporate those principles. Teacher-directed, developmentally appropriate use, meaningful limits, and a clear expectation that technology supports rather than displaces instructor-led education. Lori Balmer, Bala Kinwood. Thank you so much for all of your hard work on the new technology policy. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed. And thank you very much for the new sound system at Bala Kinwood. I am so excited for members of BC Applause and can't wait to see them perform with it this year. Teresa Elko, Winwood. I want to respectfully express my disappointment with the new technology policy, which I believe uses vague and subjective language with regards to limitations on tech use that may not functionally lead to change at all. I worry that the tech review standard is too narrow, and I am concerned that prohibition of social media, chat rooms, and gaming were not included in the final draft. I also would like to know why, quote, responsible and ethical, end quote, use of tech was removed. I acknowledge that this policy took a significant amount of time and effort, but I worry that the end result may not result in meaningful change due to the ambiguity of the language, lack of teeth, as well as the lack of district accountability with this policy. I respectfully ask the board not to approve this policy until concerns have been addressed. I would lastly like to express my disappointment with the lack of transparency regarding the rationale for requiring ed tech and the degree it is embedded in curriculum. Taylor Croma-Wiley, Bala Kinwood. My lasting concerns are with the narrow focus on device banning to, quote, iPhones only, end quote. Last time it was discussed that a smartwatch is a, quote, discipline issue, not a technology issue, if a child is still on a smartwatch. I believe a smartwatch and an iPhone to be the same thing. In addition, there's nothing about smart glasses, which I would like to see in a policy. I would really love to see some guidelines for how you will continue to reevaluate technology use and how the policy is being implemented in schools. Lastly, I am so disappointed in how some people in the community have hidden behind their screens and posted horrible things on social media. I am so glad to know that it was not a member of Pencils Over Pixels. I would note that this kind of harmful rhetoric is extensive on technology and social media platforms. Students would not be exposed if not on screens. Thank you for your consideration in voting no on the policy and continuing the editing. Michelle Vessel, Gladwin. I want to share a concern about what feels like a growing lack of communication and transparency from the school board. When a community member takes the time to email the board with legitimate concern and is told, quote, please come to the next meeting for answers, quote, it is incredibly frustrating to attend that meeting and still not receive an answer. Then when the person follows up by email, they are directed back into the same cycle. This kind of communication creates mistrust. It is difficult to reconcile this experience with repeated statements that the board is listening to and cares about the concerns of the community. Listening means more than inviting people to meetings. It also means actually addressing their questions and concerns. I'm very disappointed in what these meetings have become, and I believe this goes beyond one particular issue. It reflects a larger problem with how the board is communicating with and responding to the community. David Shapiro, Wynwood. While I appreciate the strides that have been made with the policies, they still have a lot of wiggle room, which carries over into the proposed administrative regulations. In particular, I note that the administrative regulation time limits on computer use can be exceeded based on academic needs. Even if nothing has changed now, I would ask the administration to collect data on actual device use and that the board and administration use that data to drive future policy. If technology use times are regularly exceeded, consider carefully why that is happening. I also would strongly encourage the administration to clearly message that computer use should be limited and avoided entirely where there is no compelling reason to use computers rather than analog technology. Furthermore, shared technology, such as engaging as a class with a single screen, should be preferable to individual use technology, such as students independently watching a video. I apologize. There was a comment before that got broken up from Michelle Vassal. It got broken up in between, so I'll finish it. This is Michelle Vassal. While the board is asking community members to reflect on how they conduct themselves, I think it is equally important for those in leadership positions to reflect on their own conduct. Leadership should be about listening, taking responsibility, treating people with respect, and looking for ways to bring a community together, not creating further division or giving the impression that elected officials are above the people they represent. You were elected by the community to represent us. This comes with an obligation to communicate openly, answer legitimate questions, and treat community members with respect, even when you disagree with them. When that trust begins to erode, it is reasonable for people to question whether the current leadership is truly serving the community in the way it should. Seth Ruderman, Villanova. I want to give a huge thank you to the board for making needed changes to the technology policy. The changes are substantial and show that the community is being heard. I hope that the board and administration regularly reviews this policy and makes adjustments and revisions as needed. Please move ahead with approving this policy. The changes are necessary and shouldn't be held up. Thanks again for your work. Shivani Mohan, Marion. My daughter, first grade, was recently asked by a stranger on vacation what her favorite subject was, and she shared it was anytime she could spend time on her iPad. I was horrified, but this is an example of tech addiction. We love Marion Elementary and do believe we have great teachers, but I'm sure the kids can be taught what they need in elementary school without tech. Vitaly Litvinov, Bow-Barn Drive, not sure where that is. As a parent, I request that the policy be voted down. As an institution that is afraid of its constituents is on the wrong track. Please resume the dialogue as children rely on us to do right by them. We learned during COVID that we do not know everything and cannot trust every word coming out from leadership. I fully agree with Ken Roos that we need to better understand the effect of technology before we force our children into another change. Gary Senker, Wynwood. Can you elaborate on the discussions with the police that led to the decision to move tonight's meeting to Zoom? Who participated in these discussions? Were the board president, superintendent, and solicitor all involved? Did you discuss with the police whether there were additional security measures that would have allowed the meeting to proceed safely in person? Did the police recommend that the meeting not be held in person? Is the consultation with the police, including any advice or recommendations they provided, documented in writing, such as emails, memoranda, or contemporaneous notes? If so, will you make that documentation available to the public? And what criteria will the district use to determine when it's safe to resume in-person board meetings? Girish Ramaswamy, Balakinwood. It was quite shocking to hear at the August 3rd meeting the administration openly say that student digital wellness is not a top priority of Lower Merion School District, especially when that is the whole point of all of this work for the past several months. I urge the board administration to include digital wellness as part of the Student Wellness Committee, Policy 254, or set up a separate committee that includes students, educators, pediatricians, parents, and community members. Tracy Schwartz, Penn Valley. I am an attorney and parent of 2 children, 3rd grade and 6th grade. I request that the board reconsider this proposed policy. Many parents, such as my husband and I, have seen the addiction look in their eyes when it comes to devices. They argue, how can it be bad when it is the way we are taught all day? The lack of homework and hard paper assignments is more than concerning, and reducing screen time as much as possible is the best solution for this nationwide epidemic. Thank you. Julian Schulman, Marion Station. I asked the board to seriously consider creating an expert panel around technology in schools. This is an ever-changing problem that is not going away and will only become more complicated as the tech changes faster than we can keep up with. Why not involve experts in various fields to keep our kids healthy and safe? No one has said this is an easy job. Why not make it easier with an expert panel? Meredith Briscoe Basic, Marion Station. As a physician and epidemiologist, I've always relied on data to increase our understanding, identify risk, and investigate cures. But I cannot wrap my head around that despite the caliber and amount of data continuing to mount against the dangers of educational technology and screen time, particularly when prioritized over teacher-led education, continues to fall on deaf ears. The stakes could not be higher and consequences potentially permanent. We have already witnessed a generation's inability to outperform their parents for the first time in our history. Still, we are left with a technology policy that addresses very few concerns and lacks the teeth and specific limits to be enforceable without leaving it wide open for those already excessive and merely, quote, suggested time limits to be willingly exceeded to the level of current norms with the right, quote, educational justification and without oversight or accountability. Grades 3 to 4 may not be individually assigned, but they are at the ready in the classroom with enough devices to hand them out one-on-one with a moment's notice. It is one-to-one assigned in disguise. I am not anti-technology. I am not an extremist. I am a proud daughter of 2 retired public school teachers and a proud mother of 3 neurodivergent children who are at increased risk of poor outcomes with educational technology. My husband and I have seen firsthand what happens to our children when they access one-to-one technology. Cannot imagine what they would transform into with continued exposure, not only sanctioned by, but facilitated by Lower Merion School District and without my consent. I urge the board to reconsider as this policy does not go far enough to protect our children. Michelle Meany, as a board certified physician, I cannot support the district's current stance on technology. Literature and expert opinion are replete with the idea that technology used for youth is a mental health risk and also associated significant risk of exposure to the rest of the internet that school districts are unable to prevent. Continuing with the policy as stated is postponing what is the right, although difficult, thing to do until, quote, something happens to cause a course correction. You have the choice to make the changes before a sentinel event or before our district is the last to act. Dr. Fatima Rogers, Bala-Cynwyd. Dear Dr. Ranelli, welcome to the 2026-27 school year. I am writing to express my appreciation for your continued leadership, vision, and dedication to Lower Merion School District. Thank you for your transparent, community-driven decision-making and your commitment to fostering a sense of belonging for all of our students and staff. As a parent in the district, I am grateful for the work you do every day, and I look forward to supporting your vision for an extraordinary school year ahead. Nancy Palcrono-Palou. My name is Nancy P. from Bala-Cynwyd. I have a rising 4th grade in Belmont Hills Elementary School and a rising 7th grader in West Welsh Valley Middle School. I have been incredibly proud of them, how well they do at school and how much they are learning. I'm also thankful for their teachers and the incredible effort they have been putting forth. I agree with several of the proposed restrictions, but I am worried about a couple of items. 1, for math, the iExcel app used for homework is providing our students with the opportunity to solve a math problem using pencil and paper and have it immediately evaluated. This cannot be done with a personal device. How are you planning on substituting this? How about accelerated math students? Will they be able to take their Chromebook home if working on 7th or 8th grade math? 2, my 7th grader can now use documents, create PowerPoints like a pro, he can edit videos, and more importantly, can use technology effectively as a tool to communicate his ideas and showcase his work. And all this without ever staying behind on his reading, writing, and math skills. Will my 4th grader be given the same opportunities to learn how to use technology? Some of the comments sound like we are trying to eliminate technology use more than trying to use it in a complementary way. I ask the board that you share how technology will be complementing learning with more concrete examples from the student's daily life doing math, ELA, special projects, etc. Dina Pack, Bala-Kinwood. I want to thank both the board and the school administrators for working on the technology policy and making a lot of changes in a quick time period. While there's definitely more work to do, I am happy some changes have already been implemented. I am looking forward to working with the board on comprehensive artificial intelligence policy and its implementation and curriculum. I would like to also make sure that we are not losing sight of the special education students in this discussion. There are a lot of children that both require technology for education or alternatively are uniquely harmed by technology. I would greatly value a focus on special education students' supports moving forward into the upcoming school year. Michael Volkert. Well, he doesn't list his place, so if he could put that in the text, please. The chat. Laura Morris, Bala-Kinwood. Technology is not going away. There are pluses and minuses to it. There are many opinions alongside of screens down and pencils up. I appreciate the board navigating this issue to benefit the best of education for all children. Some students, for many reasons, may need technology more than others for academic reasons. Thank you for your careful consideration. Sarah Dale, Marion Station. I'm writing to express my concerns with proposed technology policy. I feel the policy doesn't go far enough to protect our children from the potential harms of excessive personal device use. As the mother of a 3rd grader in the district, I would like to see greater transparency with parents regarding the learning apps that are used in schools and how these apps improve educational outcomes. Without these answers, I feel the potential risks of distraction are too great and that discussion-based analog options would be better. I would like to see better evaluation of the consequences of engaging with these programs over alternate options. I worry about children spending excessive time on screens rather than engaging with peers and teachers at school. I hope we can reevaluate this. Thank you. Frank Stake, Gladwin. 2 kids in middle school and 1 going into kindergarten. I don't think Pandora's box can be closed. I always thought lessons and exercises for my kids at Blackrock were in person. The technology was primarily used for drills, homework, exercises, which was good. I do agree with monitoring and guardrails against non-academic use or cheating, but I didn't mind the laptops at home for homework exercises. Michael Post, Winwood. I am a triple board certified physician in internal medicine, ICU, and pulmonary medicine. I have 2 children in Lower Merion School District. In all of my training, I've never seen a group of people so adamantly disregard what is happening in front of them. The amount of research and data showing educational technology harms to our children are astronomical. You can be a big part of making a meaningful change in a lot of children's lives right now. You're in a position to do what's right for our children. Please make an expert panel. Please involve us families. We are invested in our children and our community. Lower Merion should be leaders and eliminate all technology for elementary and middle school. Thank you. Laura Austin. Bala-Kinwood. I am disappointed in the lack of transparency by the board in addressing the valid concerns voiced by parents in the district. The rationale for the adoption of tech ed remains elusive. The parents have showed up out of their concern for their children's well-being. Please reconsider this decision and have open dialogue with parents. Okay, Michael Volkert Bryn Mawr. Scroll back up. I am a board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist with a subspecialty in ADHD. I am also the parent of 2 children. I have concerns about the current policy and its potential impact on students in the district. I would be very interested in volunteering my time and clinical experience to help inform the development of policies that are aligned with the current scientific evidence and medical literature regarding screen use and its effects on developing minds, including the use of screens in school settings. There's somebody typed their name in the chat, but there's no comment. Other than that, here we go. I've got a few more now. Aaron Amini, Bala Kinwood. As a board certified pediatrician, I do not support this policy. Again, I repeat, the building is on fire, do not proceed. It lacks protections necessary to protect children from a mental and physical health perspective and does not take child development into account. At a minimum, children deserve transparency, privacy, a bell-to-bell ban, including any device that causes distraction like smartwatches, glasses, a white list of approved sites, proven outcomes, and a committee for oversight. But we have the opportunity to do more for them. As stated in previous communications, I would be more than happy to work with the board to create a policy that takes safety and development into account and have a team of pediatric specialists on standby, also willing to assist. Respectfully request more time on this. Research is clear, and as Maya Angelou famously said, do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better, do better. That time is now. Akshaya Kumar, Gladwin. This is my first time participating and commenting at a board meeting. My daughter is 7 and starts 3rd grade at Gladwin Elementary in a couple weeks. Her 2 younger siblings are preschoolers. I plan to enroll here too. I'm not a technology skeptic. Used deliberately, it does things the book cannot. I teach at Columbia Law School and work as an international lawyer. My concern is what this technology policy leaves out. It leaves devices in my 7-year-old's classroom and sets no enforceable limit on how long she uses them. I don't see any cap at any grade. Policy 142 then authorizes the district to monitor devices, but nothing requires you to publish it, show it to me as the parent, or act on it. Policy 142 also does not define student data. It sets no retention period, requires no deletion, and never mentions FERPA. Please amend Policy 141 to cap instructional screen time by grade and hold Policy 142 until a parent knows what you keep about their kids. Dr. Pam Pojamovsky McDonald, Wynwood. Thank you for starting to revisit the technology policy and for already making changes. As a pediatric neurologist, I am worried about the effect of screen times at all levels, but especially at the level of middle school and high school and the way it's being used. Please consider making appropriate changes to reflect current recommendations from medical professionals. The next person is a student. She wants to know if she can share a comment without her full name. She's a student and a minor worried about appearing on a legal document. Unfortunately, no, the Sunshine Act requires the names of all people making comment. The only document it'll appear in is the minutes. Documents can be submitted through community comments, though. Kim Lippitz, why was the 45-minute time limit for, I assume CC, I'm assuming, community comments at the policy meeting? Not allowing all stakeholders the opportunity to comment is bad practice, and I hope not what we can expect in the future. Maria Vaquero, Narbor 3. These are wonderful people on both sides. Technology and social media have created so many challenges, especially since COVID. We need to find a way to have more respectful conversations and bring people together rather than allowing technology to divide us. I strongly condemn any threats or acts of violence. Allison Barron, Narberth. I do not support this policy moving forward without more information on how curriculum will be updated or changed. At its core, this is about curriculum delivery. Before we make sweeping changes to policy, I believe the curriculum committee needs to look at this in conjunction with experts in educational design. Figure out what assessments make sense for technology versus not. As a college professor, I can tell you students will be expected to use technology in their courses, but also be able to read, write, and communicate in live, in-person conversations. David Smythe, Marion Station. The concerns of parents are echoed by Pope Leo XIV in an encyclical letter dated May 15, 2026. He writes that education is a long journey requiring patience. Business models that monetize children's attention are too strong for families to resist one household at a time. What he calls for is an alliance among policymakers, educational institutions, and families with accountability placed on the providers rather than the whole burden of control shifted onto parents. Children and adolescents, he writes, are entrusted to our care as a precious treasure. And I believe that concludes public comment. Is that correct, Ms. Buckman?
I believe another one just arrived in the chat.
There it just it did. Eleanor Stanford Narberth. I'm extremely concerned and disappointed in the board's refusal to engage in dialogue with the community. The policy that is being voted on tonight does not provide nearly enough protection for our children from the well-proven dangers of technology. We are very far from what all research shows benefits learning. Minimal screen time, no gamified apps, bell-to-bell, cell phone ban. I understand it is difficult to backtrack after investing so much money and faith in app, platforms, and digitized learning, but we cannot let sunk costs stop us from acting in our children's best interest. I am the parent of a rising senior who went through the entire Lower Merion school district and will be homeschooling next year because of the disregard the district has shown in this new policy and the profound lack of learning I have seen as a result of over-reliance on technology. With so many resources, excellent educators, and involved committed parents offering to help us move forward, Lower Merion can do better. That's it.
There are still a little over 13 minutes left in the window. I don't know if it's possible to move on while keeping the chat open, or but there don't seem to be any more coming in at this time.
How would you like to proceed, Ken? What is the most?
I think I would suggest leaving the chat open, and I'll read those comments in the second public
as they
comment.
come. Okay. It's okay. Let's continue to move on. Well, thank you for that, Ken. That was a long read. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for putting your comments in. We appreciate all of your feedback. We'll now continue with pulling items from, we're going to move on to the consent agenda, pulling items from the consent agenda. And Ken, when appropriate, please interrupt. Also, I'm just going to make a public statement that if anybody was following the rules very clearly and putting only items for the agenda items, and you want to put items in now for non-agenda items, even though I did see definitely a few of those that were non-agenda items, you can feel free to put non-agenda items in the chat as well now. Go right ahead. But just for the rule followers in the group, go right ahead. So now let's go to, at this time, we're going to pull a few items off consent agenda. So item 9B, which is student services, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the ratification of the attached district contracts for the months of July and August. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Abby, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you asked me to pull this from consent agenda. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so let me read what it is so everybody is aware. This is McGraw-Hill Achieve 3000 Literacy for 21,241.09, and Karen Penzarelli Independent OT Services 2026-27 school year $71 and per hour. Would you like to, did you have a question on that? Did you want to bring that to the board table for a reason?
Do we need to vote on discussing it, or are we able to discuss it?
Is there a motion to
No,
approve?
you don't. No, it was polled. It was
Yeah,
presented
that's
as
what I
polled.
thought.
So no, there's no need to do anything other than talk about it.
Just wanted to
Okay.
confirm. Yes, thank you. So I had asked to pull these two, and I'll go in reverse. Regarding the independent OT contractor, I have two questions. Number one is, who sets the hourly rate?
So that's in contract negotiations with the independent contractor. And what I do is keep that in line with what we are paying for the agency that we use for other occupational therapists. So the board's approved a contract for Ostels, which is also providing physical therapists and occupational therapists. Their rate for 25-26 was $71 an hour. Their rate for 26-27 is $73 an hour. So we kept Karen Panzarella at 71, which is what her rate was last year.
Okay, thank you. I just have to make a plug because I'm an OT. I think OTs are worth their weight in gold, so I wanted to make a point to acknowledge and advocate. Thank you. My second question has to do with the McGraw-Hill contract. It is a 6-year contract, which seems like a very long contract, and there's an addendum that states that it modifies standard terms. What are those terms, and what data privacy guardrails are in place for that contract?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question? I was reading a chat comment.
That's okay. Yeah. So my question regarding the McGraw-Hill contract, which is 9B also, it's a 6-year contract, which seems just like a very long contract. I'm curious why we need this 6-year contract. Why couldn't we make it a little bit shorter and renegotiate more competitively? And clarifying what the addendum is that says it modifies standard terms, but what are those terms? What are those standard terms? Because I didn't see them in the contract. I could have missed it, but I wanted to raise that question. Those two questions.
I'll defer to others for the question of why it's 6 years. But as far as the addendum, we have a standard addendum that we append to most of our agreements and all of our technology contracts. The terms and conditions are either contained in the underlying contract, or they are in a link to the terms and conditions usually on the website of the provider. So I can't speak to which specific term and condition. One of the reasons why we have those addendums worded the way they do is so that what we have in that addendum will control no matter what the term and condition says that the provider published. But I don't have an answer for the 6-year part.
Okay.
Dr. Fraser might.
Okay, I have a question in response to what Mr. Roos just said, so I wanted to clarify that, if that's okay. Wouldn't it be better for us to have the actual, the time-stamped, quote unquote, modified terms attached to the agreement that we have versus linking it? Can you hear me?
Well, no, the McGraw-Hill contract, I believe, is attached, and if there's linked terms and conditions, I mean, you would be.
That's what I'm asking about, the linked terms. Wouldn't it be better to have those terms included in the contract as opposed to linking them, as they may change? And what we assign off on the contract may change based on what's on their website. Like they may update things that aren't included in our contract.
No, our addendum would control. They can't. No, our addendum would control as far as whatever the standard terms and conditions are. The terms and conditions that we want to make sure get enforced are in our addendum.
Okay. I wanted to just clarify that because I thought having it as a link as opposed to, a physical, for lack of a better word, attachment in the contract raised a little bit of a concern for me.
I understand, and I believe I believe that the district's contract specialist does do that, but they don't include it with your with what you're in the board. Otherwise, I mean, those terms and conditions are, as you know, pretty extensive.
Yeah, it would just be helpful to be able to see what the what the standards are, what the modified standards are. Modifying. That's my request, I suppose. Thank you.
Sure. You're
And
welcome.
if
Yeah.
Ms. Fraser, yeah, if you want to take the next question, thank you.
I can definitely speak to that. So this is actually a contract that we put in front of the board every year. So if you look, like, the quotes are only for a year. If we elect to use this resource again next year, we would be putting it in front of the board again. I'm assuming where you're seeing the 6-year is with the addendum, which was, again, by our contract specialist in technology that was created. But just if you look at the quote, it's 1 year only, and we bring it back in front of you every year. So this is a contract the board has seen for quite some time now.
And I appreciate that, and you're absolutely right. And I'm sort of going through things with a finer tooth comb than I had, which is why I'm asking the question. So just to be clear for me, not a reflection on you. This is me needing to understand better. The 6-year addendum component. Why do we need a 6-year component at all? I guess is my question. Like, why? Why go that way?
And so within our contract process, that addendum is facilitated with counsel and our contract specialist. So Mr. Ruse would have to answer that question about the addendum. I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you. Mr. Ruse.
Oh, again, I'm sorry. I was looking in the chat comments. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I need you to repeat.
That's okay. I was asking, Ms. Fraser was taking it because it was a student services question, but there's an addendum in the McGraw-Hill contract, which states it's a 6-year contract that we're entering in. And I was asking why we would have a 6-year contract for something. And she had clarified that the actual quote is for a 1-year contract. We review it, every year. But why would there be language about a 6-year contract at all that we would be entering into? And she deferred to you.
Okay. I will need to, let me review the addendum. There are many contracts on this agenda. Let me just make sure. I don't want to give you misinformation. So if you give me a minute.
Thank you. Yes, the agenda is very long. That's why I asked to pull these out, just because the consent agenda, which we have typically done for the past couple of years, I find it to be overwhelming and difficult to actually do a thorough job in my role. So I pulled these out to ask these questions, not to be a stickler, but really to make sure that I'm understanding what I'm voting on. It's overwhelming as you're seeing.
Yeah. And just remember, Abby, pulling them out 20 minutes before the meeting starts is tough on the team to be prepared. So I just want to make sure that
I sent most of these far before 20 minutes before. So to be fair, I didn't just pull these out of nowhere. We got this information Friday evening. I happened to observe the Sabbath on Friday through Saturday night. This is when I'm able to review it before tonight. I apologize that this seems like a quick turnaround, but it's really tough to read all of this information thoroughly, which is why I'm asking the questions I am now. Also, I don't think there's a time limit on when you can ask the question ahead of a meeting.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Abby. I'm just saying Ken got it about 20 minutes ahead of time. So I'm just giving him a minute to catch up. This has nothing to do with your personal life. So I'm just giving Ken a minute to know.
I have an answer. In the first paragraph of the addendum, it states that the agreement shall terminate August 31st, 2028.
Sorry, my children are in the background. The language says 6-year contract. I have to find the page. I'm sorry, I don't have it open.
It doesn't matter because the addendum controls that language at the end of that paragraph. States this agreement shall terminate August 31st, 2028.
Is it possible to remove the language just to kind of remove all doubt?
Remove the language from the original McGraw-Hill contract?
I mean, if it doesn't apply.
I would be happy to discuss offline with you the operational issues that would go in if we were to go back and try to modify these things. This is why we do an addendum. So we can basically say, we don't care what's in the contract. This addendum will control. And
okay, I just want to make sure
sign off on it.
Okay.
Hey, Curry, this is Anna. I'd like to move to vote on this contract. The back and forth, if we already have a majority, is delaying the meeting, and maybe we can revisit it if it doesn't go through. Do I have a second to vote on the actual item?
Ken, is that a process?
If it's someone's called the question, there's a
So is
second to call the question.
there a second
Yes,
to call the question?
I would like to move to vote on this item.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, now you just need
Todd,
an immediate vote, and you need 6 votes. Yeah, 6 votes.
Okay, so then Anna's calling for a vote. Do I have 6? I have 1 with Anna, 2 with Todd, 3 with me,
Jen,
4 with Jen, 5 with Juanita.
I think we answered the question, so I'm fine with moving forward with this.
6 with
Okay.
Jason. Okay, we have 6. We're moving
Okay.
forward.
But now you take a vote.
Okay. Oh, and now we take a vote. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. There's a lot of back and forth with this one. Okay, great. Now we move a vote to approve this. So all in favor to approve this, please raise your electronic hand if you can. That will be easier.
Quick clarifying question. Are we voting to approve all of 9B or
Just
each individual contract?
whatever the motion was to approve. I thought the motion was to approve the McGraw-Hill contract.
I wanted to clarify.
Motion to approve the McGraw-Hill contract. Let's do that. Raise your hand. Okay, got motion to approve McGraw-Hill contract. I see. So, okay, good. That is done. I have a quorum, a proper amount. Everybody lower your hand. Thank you. Everybody's moving around. Thank you. Okay, now, so I do this right because it does get wonky when we break things out. Is it appropriate to approve Karen Penzarelli now, or should I just put her back into consent? Since we pulled her out, so that's why
Right.
I would like to do.
Somebody just needs a motion to approve that contract.
Okay.
I'd like to move to approve.
Thank you. Abby moves to approve 9B.
Needs a second.
Anna just gave me a second.
Okay. Then
All
discussion.
in favor? Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Great. Okay, thank you very much. It is approved. Any abstentions? Motion passes. Wonderful. Everybody lower your hand. Appreciate it. You guys are doing great. Thank you all very much. Okay, now on to the next, because we do have a lot to go on here. At this time, we are pulling the following off the consent agenda. Item 10A, Educational Services. This is Sarah. Sarah, I'm going to read everything through, and then you can ask your question or make your point. The administrative recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the ratification of the attached district contracts for the month of July 2026. Seesaw for schools, which is $24,750. Scholarship, which is $15,178. Scholastic Classroom Magazine, Black Rock Middle School, which is $8,525.16. I feel like Jason. Scholarship Classroom Magazine, Penn Valley Elementary School, $7,880.92. Please pose your question or make your statement.
Sure. I just have a question about 2 of them. Quick one on Scholastic. Just wondering if Black Rock and Penn Valley are the only schools that are using that service this year, or whether other schools, their contracts are coming due at a different time in the year, or they're not using them.
Ms. Thomas, I believe what you're saying is the threshold to be on the board agenda is over $7,500. So the larger school evoke that, but it's our elementary schools and our middle schools.
Okay, great. All the elementary and middles.
Correct.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. And then I did have a question about Seesaw. It looks like it's for Seesaw, and there's a Seesaw AI component included with this contract. I'm wondering what the AI portion will be used for, whether it's students using that portion, staff members using that portion, both.
There's not a plan for staff or students to use AIs when it comes to Seesaw. It's been, I think, as you know, a longstanding portfolio that students are able to capture their work and demonstrate it in portfolio. It is only used for active participation, meaning creation, 21st century skills. It would not be a passively consumed educational technology.
Is it possible for us to take the AI portion out of the contract then and just use the regular Seesaw platform and not their AI add-on?
I am not sure what they're able to do with their technology, if they can do that or not.
Okay. Those were my questions. Sorry.
Nope, thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve 10A educational services?
So moved.
Thank you, Todd. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Great. All in favor? Raise your electronic hand. Wonderful. 5, 6, 7. Wonderful. Okay, great. Any opposed? Lower your hand. Lower your hand unless you're opposed. Sarah is opposed. Am I clocking that right, Sarah?
I'm also opposed. My clicking thing is not working.
Okay. Abby's opposed.
Sorry,
Sarah,
yeah. Sorry.
you were opposed, correct?
Yeah, I'd like to find out more about the AI component before I
Okay,
vote in
to
favor.
oppose, any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, at this time, we are pulling item 12A, facilities and operations. I believe this is Abby as well. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the ratification of attached district contracts for the month of July 2026. Integrated Security Services, that's $9,958. E Plus Technology Consulting Services, $8,600. MCIU E-Rate Services, $7,600. IU 13 Securely Classroom and Filter, 41,575 and 8 cents. Abby, if I'm correct, this is you. Please pose your question or your comment.
Thank you very much. Yes, this was me. So my question regarding 12A, there looks to be some inconsistency between the pricing and the quantity. It states on the quote 1,600 Securely Pass will be for 1,600 and Flex will be for 2,100. But the quote says that for Welsh Valley it's 800, Bala Cynwyd it's 800, and then Harriton it's 1,300. So it comes to 2,900 instead of 3,700 total. So I just wanted to ask and clarify if I'm understanding that correctly and if that can be reconciled, I suppose.
Ms. Schaefer, can you talk about the contract and the adjustment that we needed to make?
As far as the overall adjustment, due to some timing issues and transition issues, there were some licenses that are affiliated with schools that weren't on the original quote that was posted. So we have been in touch with the vendor to update that quote, and the requested authority is in line with that. The licenses that are needed to cover the schools. So it's across the middle schools as well as Harriton High School that we have the need. And so the quote is being updated accordingly.
And just so I'm clear, what will the quote, which number is the correct
It's
one?
the request is for the authorization up to the, the 22,000 number, I believe it is on the, in the motion itself. So the quote is reflecting the rate, but we're asking for the authority to go up to that amount to be inclusive of those additional licenses that we need.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I have some further questions about this program or this platform. And I had shared these earlier with the team. Mostly having to do with just how well we'll be able to block and filter. There's lots of chatter across the country with other districts using this. And one of my main concerns that I've heard about is that students can still create, a Google file, for example, share a link with a school address and bypass a lot of the blocking that we have. So I was curious if we're going to be able to essentially block that or catch that, and if Gemini and other AI could be either, I guess, turned off, for lack of a better term, through this kind of software.
Mr. Catalano?
The reason we chose Securely was it was built specifically for the K-12 platform. And it's got enhanced filtering techniques that if a page isn't categorized or whatnot, it will scan the page to look for content that should be blocked and recategorize that site on demand. That was the type of thing we were looking for, so we can block anything non-curriculum related and keep the students on task, which is why we chose this platform.
I really appreciate that, and I'm so glad that we are thinking that way. I wonder what we can do in case this does happen here, where it's happened elsewhere, where unfortunately things have gotten through the filters to the point where kids are just creating essentially their own websites that completely ruin focus and attention. What can we do in that instance? Does Securely have like an upgrade or something like that? Is there something we can do to enhance?
It's constantly updating and getting updates, and we'll get those real-time updates with the use of the Securely Classroom as well. Teachers will have allow block list on top of our filter. They can limit tabs. If they only want the kids to go to 2 sites, they can lock them in. They can push websites to them, and they can lock their screens and limit tabs. The goal is with the filter strictly restricted to curriculum sites, and then the teachers with that added level of focus control in the classroom, along with the parents having the ability to have that visibility with Securely at home and the ability to pause the machines when they're not at home. That's our goal with those 3 things together for the next year, to keep the students on task and only use the technology for an active use when it's curriculum related.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah?
I had 2 questions about the Securely contract as well. One question was, when will the parental controls be available? Because I know our high school students are able to pick up their laptops soon. So wondering, will those controls be available at that time or not until school starts or once we get into the school year?
This contract was approved today. We're in the process of rolling out and setting all the machines up currently. We have all the K-7 devices done currently. We're working on the Macs right now with the hope to have all these ready by the first day of school. And once the Securely filter is in place, the Securely Home app will be available for parents to download and then use that.
Okay. And then parents of elementary students, even though those students are not bringing devices home, parents would still have an ability to log in to see what their children are doing on their devices while they're in school.
For those select
How does
times
that
they're
work?
used in for those select times they're used in elementary school, the students will have a class link badge to log in because the devices will no longer be assigned. When they log in with that QR code, it registers that it's that student, so the parents will be able to see the device activity in the schools. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Juanita?
There was a student, a senior, who mentioned the challenges that she's having with being able to do research, academic research. So how would this program affect students such as her?
We won't block her from like research sites. It will block her.
So go ahead,
And
Bob. There might be some
I'm sorry.
limitations. So yeah.
So there very well could be limitations. They can reach out to their teacher. They can get in contact with us, and we can allow certain sites. We can set special limits for classes. If there's things they need to get to, we can do individual profiles. So we won't prevent the students from doing a research-based project. We had to do that with our current filter. A certain student wanted to watch a documentary for a research paper, and we were able to work with the student to make sure she could do that. Our goal here is to deliver the best curriculum experience and keep the students on task, not block them from things they need to do to continue their education.
Excellent. Thank you.
God.
Yeah, and I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and move this one forward. I think the questions have been answered sufficiently for our purposes at a regular board meeting tonight. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this contract.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Anna. Any discussion
No,
other than what we've had?
It's all in favor
All in favor. Great. No more
closed
discussion.
comment, all in favor.
Okay, hands up if you're in favor.
of closing comment. Okay, now you can have the discussion and
Oh,
vote on the
sorry, it's
principal
a double
motion.
vote. Great. Everybody's in favor. Sorry, Ken, what's the next step on this one? This is a double one.
Move to approve the item 12A.
Move to approve item 12A. Everybody hands up. Wonderful. And now hands down. Great. Any opposed? Abby is opposed. Just want to state it for the record because it's tricky with these hands. Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. At this time, we are pulling a couple more items off the consent agenda. I'm going to separate these out, even though these came in. So I'm just making sure everybody's aware of them. So pulling the item off the consent agenda, Presidio and Power School. This is item 12C. So let me pull them separately, Abby. So I'm sorry, I'm grouping them together. So 12C was pulled off. I believe that was Presidio was 12C. Do you have a question about 12C?
I do, and thank you. It's also my same question for 12D. So,
let's pull 12. Ken, do you
if
mind
we're
if I
able to
pull
be
12C and D together?
C's
not, then
Power
we can-
School 12 is or D's
Oh,
Presidio.
they're reversed. I'm sorry. Well, they're
Yeah.
the same question. It looked like when I was reviewing them that we have them on an auto renewal, and that just raised a little bit of a concern for me as we're talking about governance and oversight. I don't know why they would be on auto renewal. So it's a question and also a concern.
Mr. Roos, is there a contractual addendum or reason why we would have them on auto renewal? Or Mr. Catalano, would you know that answer?
Well, the answer, there's no addendum for the, there's no addendum for the Power School Messenger one. It doesn't appear that then doesn't have an addendum. So I can't speak to why or why not we wouldn't. But any automatic renewal even with an automatic renewal, the contract can still be terminated as long as proper notice is given. As far as the Presidio contract goes, yeah, same thing. Oh, no. Presidio contract in the addendum actually states that there shall be no automatic renewal. So that one doesn't have an automatic renewal.
Okay, I appreciate that because I must have missed that one as I was looking through them.
It's the last sentence. It's number 12 in the addendum.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. Just for best practices when it comes to governance, I would think that auto renewals would not be something we want to do. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You can entertain a motion for both of them at the same time, President Sutner.
Okay. So do I have a motion to accept both of them at the same time? Todd's motion, and I'm going to take Sarah as a second on that one. Great, thank you. Now, is there a motion to approve 12C and D? I'm going to take Jenna as a motion to approve and take Sarah as a motion to second, and then any discussion? Take the silence as a no.
I have a quick question.
I will not take. Go ahead.
To Mr. Roos, you'd said that we'd give notice to end an auto renew, to pause an auto renew. Who gives that notice, and what is just a quick who?
Well, either side. I mean, I have to look at the quote, but it typically is either side.
Ken?
Vic.
Go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, Ken. So in the contract, the customer informs Power School 60 days prior to the end of the term to not renew it.
The customer meaning the board would do this.
The school district.
Okay, so an administrator in the district, the board would have to vote on that, I'm assuming, to terminate?
No.
No.
Not if the administration is not going to recommend it to be
correct
extended.
I see. Okay. Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clarify that.
Your approval of this contract signifies your approval to defer to the administration as to whether it gets extended or not.
Dr. Sotner, it looks like we already have 6 hands up to approve it if I was
All in
tracking.
favor.
So can we move forward?
Yep. All in favor. Great. Any opposed? Abby's opposed. Okay. Any abstentions? For the record, no abstentions, motion passes. Okay, we are going to please pull item 12F. The UKG contract mentions Cobb County Board of Commissioners should state LMSD, and Abby, correct me if I'm just reading your comment, but also mentions that a 3% uplift over each year of the 3-year contract. Abby, do you want to make a statement or clarify your comment on this?
Well, I just, yes, thank you. I wanted to note that there was a, an honest mistake that the wrong entity was mentioned in the contract. So Cobb's County Board of Commissioners versus Lower Merion School District. So just to edit that. And I noticed that 3% increase over 3-year period. I'm curious if there's a way to kind of renegotiate that or why that's built into the contract. That seems like a not the most competitive.
Vic, you familiar with that comment here?
Not that familiar with that. I do see it in there. It does mention Omnia, which is a state contract, which is a cooperative purchasing. So I'm assuming it's probably built into that cooperative purchasing agreement that there's a 3% increase over the life of each year.
I have a question. Does this come up in facilities? This feels like a lot of stuff that comes up in facilities normal, and I'm just wondering why. Is
I
this
don't
normal?
recall. I don't recall it coming up in facilities. I know Dr. Wilson spoke about this topic. I don't recall a question coming up regarding it.
I didn't ask a question that this was discussed in facilities or reviewed in facilities. I took some more time, as I said, to review and have some questions now.
I was just wondering. It just seems like a lot that's coming up now, and I'm just wondering what was going on. It's okay, just wondering.
Yeah, I just took a little bit more time and had some more questions.
Yeah, no worries. Fuzzies. Great. Any other questions on that one?
Motion to move forward.
Great. Motion to move forward. Do I have a second?
Sorry, I just have one quick question. Are we able to move
Sure.
it forward with the addendum that we will fix the name of the school district to the correct one?
You consider yes. The answer is yes.
Okay.
Great. Got a motion to move forward. I'm going to take Jen Rivera as a second on that. Now we have a motion to approve. I'm going to take Jen as a motion to approve and Todd Ricky as a second. Any discussion with the addendum of the correct school district will be listed. Okay, Jen as okay, any discussion? No. All in favor? Yes. Get everybody's hands up, including mine, not electronic. Any discussion? No. All in favor? Any opposed? Everybody lower your hands so I can count the opposed. No opposed on this one. Any abstentions? Nope. Motion passes. Okay, wonderful. Now, for adoption, policy 141, K-12 technology use, policy 142, K-12 technology, safety and monitoring and privacy. This is item 12A, old business, is how it's listed. Sarah, you pulled this. Please kind of. Oh, Ken, I'm sorry. Do you wanna read your? I'm sorry. I apologize, Sarah. Hold on that real quick.
There's a comment.
Let's do the rest of the comments. Go for it.
Well, there's a comment in the chat about this agenda item, and this is from the student who I referenced earlier. Claire Solga Winwood. I'm a rising senior and international baccalaureate student at Harriton High School. I have found it extremely difficult to do academic research on my school laptop, on and off school Wi-Fi, due to excessively broad and imprecise internet restrictions. Please consider accessibility in addition to safety when it comes to policies regarding website restrictions. Thank you for your time with this. That was the only other comment about about something an agenda item. We have others for non-agenda.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go back to Sarah. Sarah?
Sure. Just want to clarify, it's 13A, not 12A. Is the agenda item.
Starting to get tired.
No worries. There were a lot of 12s. I just wanted to say that I appreciate the work that the policy committee and district leadership have done on policies 141 and 142 throughout the spring and summer. As it currently stands, I still have some unanswered questions which I've asked of the policy committee a few times now. The language that's in the addendums, which are new, state that the administrative regulation and board policy remain the governing authorities if there's any difference between the summary and the regulation. And considering that the board has given a directive to district administration to follow the draft of the policies while they're being finalized, I'm unclear as to the purpose of adding these addendums rather than taking some additional time to formalize the information that's in the addendums into the policies and/or ARs.
What we tried to do, Ms. Thomas, with the addendums is put in plain language for anyone who's kind of new to the conversation to be able to look at the addendums and really break out as much as we can. In some areas, there's more summary information. In some areas, we really draw it out more. So we just the need is a strong word. We really wanted to make sure that the community can read those documents and understand what all went into the creation of the policy and the ARs. So just in different language and really, try to make it as clear as possible.
Abby?
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Ranelli, for that clarifying information. I will be voting no on both policy 141 and 142. And I really, echoing what Sarah just said, I really appreciate the time and effort spent crafting these policies, but I'm very concerned about the absence of specific language and clear guidelines that would give these policies the teeth that I believe we're all looking for. So for instance, in section 4 of policy 141, it states that students must use district technology only for educational purposes and other district approved purposes. What does use only for educational purposes really mean? Couldn't virtually anything be described as educational, even if it included how to engage in dangerous behavior or create dangerous objects? And does other district approved purposes mean only what is articulated in posted district policies? Does it include anything a specific teacher or club advisor approves? I'm similarly troubled by the disregard for the concerns of so many parents and community members in our community. And here I want to acknowledge the tension that we're all aware of tonight, the reason we're virtual. After the decision to go virtual was made by board leadership, I heard from the board president that there were threats made against the board and superintendent. I have not seen these threats, nor was my input sought about shifting to a virtual meeting. Safety is our #1 priority, but determining what threatens that safety is a decision that should be arrived at after thoughtful deliberation by the full board. For this board to function at its best, we must all 9 of us, be included in the decision-making process. When certain board members are excluded, not only does it go against governance best practices, but it also degrades trust and ultimately harms our integrity. I share this here with the hope and expectation that this exclusionary behavior by some members of this board will end, and I ask for full transparency and cooperation from my fellow board members going forward. Thank you.
Dr. Saltner, is it okay if I make a comment and regarding what you pulled?
Oh, I did not pull it. Sarah pulled it.
Oh, okay.
So
That's Sarah pulled.
Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Abby and Sarah, for your comments. I have had conversations with you guys, and it's always great. And that's why we're bored. We could agree to disagree. I would like to share why I'm voting yes tonight. And then we received a community comment that I want to read out loud to go on public record as well, from a number of parents, community leaders, administrators, students, and principals, also who have not been so vocal in this, expressing their concern about this. And I want to read that to get that on public record. First, I want to share with the community why I'm voting yes this evening. As school board directors, we have the tremendous responsibility. We represent between 8,500 to 8,600 students across 11 buildings. That is a lot. And our obligation is to make thoughtful, informed decisions that serve every student, not just some, not just a select group or a particular point of view. We need to make thoughtful, informed decisions that serve every student in this district. Over the past 8 months, my fellow board members and I have listened. We have had an opportunity as a board to collaborate with one another. to speak about the policy, meet with the policy committee if we're not on it, to give our feedback. I myself, many of you on here tonight that are community members, have my cell phone number. You have met with me in person this summer. We have had conversations, text calls. So I myself could even attest. I have spoken with parents, students, teachers, principals, administrators, members of our community. I myself, as well, other board members, we have sought expert perspectives and research, asked difficult questions, and considered different viewpoints. And that's key, considering different viewpoints. We have done this because we care deeply about our children and because these decisions matter. When it comes to technology, I believe we all want the same fundamental things for our students. That is to read, to write, to think critically, to be creative, connect with one another, and learn from their teachers, while also being prepared for the world that they will inherit. Our job is to find balance thoughtfully and intentionally. And while we may not always agree on how to get there, I believe we can disagree with respect, listen with an open mind, and continue working together toward what matters. That is the education, that is the well-being, and the future of every child in this district. And this comes to mind, and I would like to read this following statement that we have received this evening going into the board meeting, and I want this on public record. It's an open letter from Lower Merion parents, enough is enough, to the Lower Merion School Board and Superintendent Ranelli. We believe our children deserve to grow up in a community that models respectful disagreement. Many of us have engaged in conversations about the use of technology in Lower Merion School District classrooms. This dialogue led to a revised policy on this topic. While we may not always agree, respect is essential. We are writing this letter to say we will not stand for harassment and threats towards district administration and school board members. We say enough is enough. Like many parents, we believe important questions should be asked about technology. We want our children reading books, writing by hand, engaging with teachers and classmates, thinking critically, creating and learning without a screen constantly in front of them. We also recognize that technology has an important place in preparing students for a world they will inherit. This should not be a debate between technology and not technology. It should be about using technology intentionally, developmentally appropriately, and with its strengths, learning. Over the past several months, parents have raised concerns, asked questions, attended meetings, and offered suggestions. The board and administration have listened and acted. The district has held community meetings, reconsidered practices, strengthened parameters around technology use, increased opportunities for teacher and parent oversight, and made meaningful change for the coming school year. Although no policy is perfect, the representativeness of it deserves to be acknowledged. People will continue to disagree about some decisions. That is part of a healthy public school system. Parents should question policies, advocate for their children, and respectfully challenge elected officials and administrators. But there is a clear line between advocacy and intimidation. Personal attacks, hateful comments, threats, and suggestions that people should seek out or publish a public official's home address so others can show up and put him in his place cross the line. They are unacceptable. Disagreement does not justify dehumanizing people. Advocacy does not require intimidation. And the moment raises a larger issue that our community cannot afford to ignore. The culture surrounding leadership in our district must change. Since 2021, Lower Merion has had 7 superintendents or individuals serving the role. Whatever the circumstances surrounding each transition, the level of leadership turnover should concern every family in this community. We cannot continue creating conditions in which talented educators and leaders spend a disproportionate amounts of their time responding to conflict, personal attack, and demands whichever voices are louder rather than leading our schools. We reject the idea of any single group or the loudest voices in the room speaks for the entire Lower Merion community. Many parents who care deeply about our schools will never speak at a board meeting, send dozens of emails, or participate in online debate. We are speaking now because our voices matter too. We support public school systems that listen to its community while remaining responsible for all students. Leadership requires hearing different perspectives, weighing evidence, making thoughtful changes, and ultimately making decisions on behalf of the entire district. That is what we have seen the board and the Superintendent Ranelli working to do. We have the opportunity now to establish a healthier culture, one in which questioning is welcomed, disagreed is expected, and advocacy remains vigorous without making public service untenable for people we entrust to lead our schools. The board, Superintendent Ranelli, administration, teachers, and staff, please know that you are not alone. Many families see your efforts to listen, respond, and make thoughtful decisions to our children. We are grateful for the leadership, we support the work, and we hope our community can now focus our collective energy on what matters most, the education, well-being, and future of every student in Lower Merion. So I just wanted to bring that to public record solicitor. We have received that this evening, and I appreciate it. We cannot act without policy. So to Dr. Ranelli, administrators, teachers, thank you for your patience while we're going through this process. It's not going to be easy. This is a marathon, not a sprint. This is not going to be perfect. So I ask for the community's patience. I ask for the parents' patience. We all care about our students. We all want to implement change, see change in our schools. But I want to remind you, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Things aren't going to get perfect, right? We're asking a lot of our district, a lot of our teachers and administration. So let's come together, work together, and work on respecting one another. So I just want to share that. Why my yes? I've done my work as a board member. I take my oath seriously, and I want to thank the board and all those who have been able to educate me over these 8 months.
Thank you, Jen. Ken, we have another comment that came in, go for Ken.
Yeah, this is a comment that came in just before time elapsed. Julie Peretchen, Gladwin, PA. Appreciate all the work and time put into discussing and revising these policies. This is a big topic spanning many ages and grades with impacts to teachers and curriculums. Given there are still so many open questions, concerns, and areas that need more definition and quantification, suggesting this be considered as a temporary implementation to allow more time for committees to form and checkpoints for incremental revisions so that this can continually evolve.
Okay, and I think next, who hasn't spoken yet, is Anna.
Yeah, I was going to move for a vote, Curry.
Okay, so if you move for a vote and you have a second, sorry, I'm just making sure I'm on the right page. So move to.
Can I? Oh, I would like to say, do I get an opportunity to say something? I haven't spoken at all.
Well, if she gets a right, Ken, if she gets a second, then.
I promise to be brief.
What, Ken, you're on mute. Tell me the rules on this one, Ken.
If you recognize Jason before there's a second, Jason can speak.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason. I just wanted to move for a vote. So anyone that hasn't spoke yet, go ahead.
Yeah, I know this is late. I just want to say, as a board member and a policy committee member, I really appreciate all the feedback we have received from the community and all of the phone calls and conversations I have had with parents to discuss their thoughts and the policy and the AR. I think we have to keep in mind that this policy and AR is a huge step forward from what we previously had. It incorporates parents' concerns. It reduces technology in the classroom, provides guidance and structure for teachers and staff. It's also important to note that this policy, like all policies, are works in progress. And as the AR notes, we will continue to review and revise this policy and AR and identify areas of improvement as we move along. And for those reasons, I'm comfortable voting in favor of this policy as well.
Thank you, Jason. Go back to Anna. Do you want to move it forward?
I would like to move it forward. It was my turn, so I'd like to move it forward. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second.
This conversation isn't finished.
There's no deliberation during a motion to close debate.
So we move it forward to close debate, and then following the rules, is there a motion to approve?
No, you need to vote on the motion to close debate.
So I vote on a motion to close debate. Sorry, Ken, I need the script.
That's okay. That's okay. You need
It's too late without a script.
So
To a
moved.
motion to close. So moved. Okay, everybody raise your hand. Second to move. So moved. Second for that. Okay, fine. Now everybody vote who wants to close debate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6. Closes debate. Now I vote to approve policy 141. So now I need a motion to approve policy
Oh, you have,
141.
no, you already have that. Now it's just yes or no on
I did?
approving.
Okay. I didn't think I did that. Okay. So
Well, then
yes or no. So
Well,
I didn't think I did a motion to approve
okay, well
the.
then the debate wasn't part of the motion.
I
So,
think there were two motions to close the debate.
okay.
I move to approve this policy as written.
Thank you, Sheena. Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I have
All
one
in
more thing
favor?
I'd like, no, are we allowed to
Any
have
discussion?
discussion?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Right, Ken, we're allowed to have discussion at this point.
Is that accurate? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that Ms. Rivera, I appreciate you sharing that with the community. We, as a board, all received that email. And to your point, we don't want to elevate, one or some voices over any others. So I have something I'd also like to read, which is the petition from the Pencils Over Pixels group. They had shared this with the board as well. I'm speaking as they wrote this. We are signing this petition because we have deep and growing concerns about the widespread use of one-to-one school-issued devices, iPads, Chromebooks, and MacBooks across K through 12 in LMSD. We are asking for a clear and viable pathway for families who want to opt out of one-to-one school-issued devices as a routine part of daily instruction. We truly appreciate the March 23rd, 2026 community meeting on devices in our schools, where the overwhelming turnout and testimony made the depth of concern across LMSD impossible to ignore. Parents, educators, and professionals and students spoke about distraction, reduced focus, constant tab switching, students messaging and emailing during class, cyberbullying, the lack of guardrails, and resulting exposure to inappropriate online content and games during the school day, weaker socialization, teacher burnout, excessive screen time, privacy concerns, the impact on classroom behavior and attention, the growing role of AI in children's academic lives, and many other concerns. A major theme that emerged at the meeting was simple and urgent. Where is the clear evidence that one-to-one educational technology is actually better for most children than traditional teacher-led pen and paper learning? As one-to-one devices have spread across schools, national academic outcomes have remained flat or declined, while families and educators in LMSD are seeing the harms of heavy screen use more and more clearly in real time. Our LMSD educators are speaking out now, and we must listen to them. In the week before the community meeting, 5 LMSD educators confidentially shared serious concerns about educational technology, concerns that were later compiled into this document, which is referred to here. And we know for a fact that many more teachers across the district share these same concerns, but do not feel safe speaking publicly. In the very same week as our LMSD community meeting on screens, juries found Meta and YouTube liable for harming young users, with thousands of similar cases still pending. These findings are not abstract or far away from LMSD. We hear reports from within our own district that dangerous content is being accessed on school-issued devices during the school day, on buses, and at home. These reports include children across grades in LMSD schools accessing and playing Five Nights at Epstein's, a deeply disturbing online game built around Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking themes and obscene content. Parents on LMSD Facebook pages, including middle school parents, also report that students can access TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook, shared Google Docs, and multiple games on their school-issued devices. This is a serious ongoing student safety failure, and it cannot be brushed aside. Instruction in digital skills like typing, media literacy, safe searching, and how to use technology is critical. That is very different from making one-to-one screens, apps, and devices the main way children are taught reading, writing, math, STEM, social studies, and other core subjects. Those subjects should be grounded far more in direct instruction, pen and paper work, sustained reading, problem solving, and real human interaction. We, the undersigned parents, educators, and community members of LMSD respectfully ask the district to enforce policy and administrative regulations 137, including attachment D, and to create a clear and viable opt-out pathway for families who do not want their children using one-to-one school-issued devices as a routine part of daily instruction. This right already exists in district policy, and families who exercise it deserve an equal educational pathway. Policy 137 makes it clear that if a parent or student declines to participate in the one-to-one electronic device initiative by refusing to sign the device agreement, the building principal is responsible for making accommodations so that the student's education is not adversely affected. Specifically, we are asking LMSD to enforce Administrative Regulation 137, including Attachment D for any family that declines participation in the one-to-one electronic device initiative. Create a clear district-wide process for families to opt out of one-to-one devices from K to 12. Offer an equal and meaningful lower tech or device-reduced educational option for interested students. Hold a follow-up community meeting to discuss next steps, including how LMSD can support families seeking to opt out of one-to-one devices. We appreciate the district for opening this conversation. We know the board is made up of hardworking volunteers who care deeply about our children and our community. We now ask LMSD to take the next step, enforce its own policy, respect parent choice, and create a real opt-out pathway for families seeking a more traditional, lower tech education for their children. Signed, parents, educators, and community members of Lower Merion School District. Thank you.
Okay, calling for the vote. All in favor, please raise your electronic hand. Thank you. And now please lower your hand. Opposed? Okay, that's 2 opposed. Any abstentions? Thank you, Sarah. 0 abstentions. Motion passes. Now, final vote. Is there a motion to approve all the items listed on tonight's agenda via consent that are left?
So moved.
Thank you. Todd, I'm going to take your hand raise as a second. Thank you. Any discussion? Hope. All in favor? Please raise your hand in some fashion. Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Opposed? And are you okay? Good. Putting your hand down. No opposed. Thank you. No abstentions. Motion passes. Okay. Audience recognitions for non-agenda items. Now I want to just pause for a minute. Ken, you have no problem if I dismiss Shayna and Juanita since they are overseas? Is there any problem if I dismiss these 2 board members since they are overseas? Is that okay?
Yes, please.
is
It's
okay.
3 a.m.
Yes, go forth. We appreciate you both for chiming in with us from overseas.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you
Good
both
night.
very much. Okay, now audience recognition. We will make sure that they both get any comments and they have this information when they return to the mainland. So please, Ken, could you please read the audience recognition for non-agenda items?
Okay. David Allen, Marion Station. Philadelphia Inquirer article, August 17, 2026, cited in 2022, the Pennsbury School District agreed to pay $300,000 to 4 men who had sued the district, saying their public comments at board meetings had been illegally curtailed. A federal judge had previously directed the district to stop enforcing a policy that prohibited abusive, offensive, or personally directed public comments. I am concerned that LMSD action may lead to the same ending by banning from a meeting attendance 2 people from screens down, pencils up for a whole year. I think there must be a better way for dealing with disruptions that is at least consistent with case law. Also, according to the Inquirer story, the school board did not cite the contents of the offending media post, which would be appropriate in defending its actions. Joe Smith Winwood, we should teach more kids about communism and the difference between communism in theory and communism in its historic practice. Cheetah Escobedo, Marion, it's concerning to know about threats towards the board and their families. Please forward screenshots, links, or text of any harassing or threatening comments to speak up at pencilsoverpixels.org so we can assist in identifying and remediating. The other comments I already read.
Great, all done. Okay, thank you for all of that, everyone. And Sunshine Act. Mr. Roos, would you please make the announcement required by the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act?
Yes, the board met briefly in executive session before this meeting regarding a personnel-related matter.
Thank you. Next meeting, September 28th, is the regular business board meeting. Committee meetings will be held in the boardroom via webinar live stream unless noted. So the upcoming committee meetings are September 14th is the curriculum committee meeting at 6 p.m. September 14th is also the policy committee meeting at 7:30 p.m. September 24th is the facilities and purchasing meeting that is at 9 a.m. via Zoom. And this meeting is officially adjourned, being there's no further business. Thank you very much. Everyone have a lovely evening. Thank you.